What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 138.
1, 3, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, a la verga!
What he said.
And then Scott says...
Huh?
You know.
What is going on here? God damn, I can't get higher than 30 because I've never done anything more than 30 times. Ask your mother.
Ugh, who the hell's this guy over here?
Es
Who's
una
this
peruca
Amarillo
también.
fuck? Barnes.
How do you say Barnes in Spanish?
Barnes? Well, it depends. Granja? Barn? Like plural? Like
Gronkowski?
singular?
Rob Gronkowski?
Former 24/7 champion Rob Gronkowski?
Rob
Getting
the
ejected by a
Gronk
female security
Gronkowski.
guard?
Anyway, what's the subject this week?
I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, yeah. We're continuing WrestleMania season this month.
Oh,
WrestleMania fighting tonight. Just like that.
Just like
Just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that. Así mero.
I swear to God, Santino.
Can
I
you
hate
sing that
forever
song in
for that.
Spanish, Ricky?
I think I can.
Go ahead,
Do
do
it.
it.
Oh, WrestleMania, luchando para sobrevivir. ¿Cómo así? Así mero.
See, Mayo?
Mayo.
Mayo does not belong on burger.
No mas. No mas.
Yes, it does. Moving on.
Moving on.
Well, we can agree to disagree, even if you're wrong. Anyway, WrestleMania 19, everybody.
I'm right, but it's okay.
19!
20.
Yes.
Controversial hot food takes aside.
Yes.
It
Yes,
does
we're
feel
talking-
weird this show is 20 years old.
It really does.
It
WrestleMania
does.
19. And I watched it
damn.
live on pay-per-view.
So did I. I think we all did.
I was still in the womb at this point.
You were watching from the womb. There was a little TV in there.
I'm coming down. I'm
Oh.
trying to see The Rock versus Austin. God.
That makes me no longer the
In
youngest
125,
of the group.
Brock Lesnar nearly killed himself at WrestleMania. And now I have 8 fingers.
This show literally took place 2 days before I was born.
Oh,
okay. There you go.
nice.
There you go.
So you were born an April Fool.
My
Just
life's
like
been a
Randy
joke
Orton.
ever since. Yes, I do share a birthday with Mr. Snake himself.
Random
It's
young
Snack
young
Man.
Randall, as Xavier Woods calls him.
Quick facts. Does anybody else share a birthday with a wrestler?
I know.
I know for me, I share with Mick Foley, superstar Billy Graham, Howard Finkel,
There you go.
all June 7th.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, and
may I welcome your
Caleb
birthday?
Braxton.
I share a birthday with Shayna Baszler.
Oh, that's cool.
James, you are a lucky bastard to share a birthday with Caleb Braxton.
Yeah.
We were born same day, same year, too.
Oh, wow. That'd
June
be better.
7th, 91.
Well, you're even more of a lucky bastard.
Mhm.
But anyways, we digress a lot.
A lot.
But I digest.
But so yeah,
I actually
God
found one
damn
for
it.
me for my birthday. I share with LA Knight, Billy Gunn, and Leo Rush.
2 out of 3 aren't bad.
Yeah, that's fair.
You share the birthday with Ass Daddy, or Daddy Ass, or
With
However you
with
pronounce
daddy
it.
ass, yeah, and
Not-
an asshole.
El
There
culo
you
de
go.
las nalgas de papá. Sí.
Can you say scissor me in Spanish?
Scissor me daddy in Spanish.
Trying to figure out how to say it properly. Because scissors son tijeras. But
This
Not
is the
all
part of
things
the show
translate
that
well,
you
folks.
don't see. This is uncut version. Happens right before we go live.
No. If it's live, nothing can go wrong.
No, exactly.
Papi,
Boss is finding
dame
out
las
how
papi.
uncoordinated we are.
papi,
Yeah.
tijérame muy rico.
All right, okay, there you go. Mhm.
But anyways,
What
I
were we talking
digest
about again?
too.
Dos,
So,
dos.
So, WrestleMania 19 from Safeco Field in Seattle, Washington. Seattle, you're killing me. Ugh. So, yeah.
The Seattle Seahawks.
Safeco Field in Seattle with an attendance of 54,097 sellout with 52,000 paid. So the attendance lower than 18 and was the highest attended pay-per-view of 2003. No shock. Live gate of $2,760,635, which was also lower than WrestleMania 18, but was the highest live gate of 2003. And then the pay-per-view buys, everybody's going to be shocked that's watching, 560,000, which was way lower than WrestleMania 18, and only the second highest bought pay-per-view of 2003, with Royal Rumble as the highest by 25,000 buys.
This was the lowest bought WrestleMania between WrestleMania 14 and WrestleMania 29.
Yeah.
Like,
which is
this
so weird.
Very weird.
This was during a time when business was not... It was doing good, but it was not doing as good as it was the prior few years.
Yeah.
This is when the wrestling fans were split after the WCW and ECW buyouts in 01. A year later, they were waiting for the dream matches that never really happened, and that's when a lot of those fans just went away. TNA was starting up too, Ring of Honor was going, so the mainstream wrestling fans, the bandwagon jumpers, they were gone, and they were like, "Oh, we'll get into something else now." And then
Which
the
would
hardcore
become
wrestling
UFC
fans,
eventually.
yeah, the hardcore wrestling fans were now like, "Yeah, all right, we've been there, done that. Oh, what's this TNA? What's this Ring of Honor? You know, what's all that about?" So,
And also with the brand split, that pretty much dipped pay-per-view buys a bunch as well during this era.
And also for the international kind of market as well, you also have New Japan that was starting to rise up, and especially Pro Wrestling Noah, where they were starting to really hit their high as well. And also, I can excuse the fact that this pay-per-view's buy rate was really very low, because WrestleMania 18 was at the Sky Dome, and that menu is way bigger than SoFi State.
Well, it also didn't help that a lot of the build-up heading into this show was not that great. There was only a couple of matches that had any good build.
Yeah.
Which was, well, we'll talk about them when we get to
we'll
those
get into that.
matches.
Yeah, because yeah.
Yeah.
But as a card, I will say this right now, probably the most stacked WrestleMania card of all time.
You could make the
It's really
case
hard
for
to
sure.
There were 5 matches you could make a case that, if they were the main event, they would fit.
Yeah.
Nobody would complain.
Yeah. But with all that said, let's go ahead. Well, before we talk about the main show, we got to talk about a particular segment that aired on the Sunday Night Heat before the show. John Cena's rap on Fabulous. That was fucking hilarious. And it is a bit weird to think that Cena didn't get to have a match on this show.
Yeah.
He was injured.
But yeah, he was hurt at this point.
I think the rumor is that I think him and Eminem were supposed to have a rap battle, but they didn't come to an agreement. And the aforementioned
And that's
Cena
why
injury,
they did. And that's why they did.
That's why Cena was on Sunday Night Heat. But Cena would keep going as the
And
years
also,
go
and also on Sunday Night Heat, you had the Raw Tag Team Championship match.
on. Yes.
That was bumped
Regal-
from the main card.
Regal was sick or injured, one of those two things, so he got pulled. And was it
Chief
Shawn?
Morley.
Chief Morley.
Chief
thank you.
Morley, yeah.
You got put in this
Former
place.
Valdinas.
And I think this is also that kind of stemmed from Regal still recovering from the injury he suffered at the pay-per-view prior that we talked about with No Way Out.
He probably still got knocked loopy from that concussion.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
yeah.
But with the Sunday Night Heat stuff out of the way, now time to talk about the main card, and we kick things off with the first of 5 championship matches of the night for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. Champion Matt Hardy with Shannon Moore versus challenger Rey Mysterio, sporting the Daredevil gear, since this was around the time the very bad Ben Affleck Daredevil movie came out. So, granted, good
version was better.
soundtrack. Granted, great soundtrack, but a meh movie, but I digress.
Yeah.
But it would start the tradition of Ray doing the special outfits for WrestleMania.
Yep.
Yep.
And the match itself was a solid, good match between the two.
Yeah. A good way to kick off the show.
Yeah, granted, not the longest match in the world, but still.
Yeah.
It need to.
But it was just enough. It was,
Yeah.
It didn't need to be a big, super long match. Like another match later on we'll talk about that goes way too long. But
For the time that they were given, which was like 5 minutes, they crammed a whole lot in for 5 minutes. And wouldn't this wouldn't they have like a match on SmackDown? I think a couple weeks after this, where Ray won the title from Hardy. I think.
I
It
think
was-
so.
See?
Which does beg the
So-
question, if you was going to have Matt drop the belt to Ray, why not give Ray the belt here in his WrestleMania debut?
I'm gonna get Matt more heat or something like that.
Yeah.
I find it odd that Matt was a cruiserweight champion. I still like.
It's still weird. Yeah.
So
just
weird.
the angle at the time.
Well,
Plus,
hey,
plus we had the MFers and we had the morons. The fans of Matt Hardy were Matt's fans, MFers, and fans of Shannon Moore were morons.
I will
The fact
say
that they
Oh my
made
God.
Crash Holly a moron was...
That's a big
Yeah.
miss. That's a big miss right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I will say this like gimmick that Hardy was going to. I'd argue it's the best version of Matt that we've had.
Up to this point, yes.
Yeah, up
Until
to
this
this
point.
point, yeah.
Yeah,
Because the
yeah.
little known facts.
The Matt
were
facts.
just Matt
Matt
He
facts.
hates
Great, yeah.
mustard.
Yep.
He hates the cold. He hates the snow. It's brilliant.
And the Lita Matt thing, Edge thing, that was what, 2 years later?
yeah,
Yes.
2 years later.
Yeah, 2 years.
later. And that's another point about Cena to bring up too. During his promo thing, he calls his shot, says he's going to main event WrestleMania next year. He was off by a year.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
you
he
think
was
about
off
that,
by-
Off
think about
by,
that
Like
2
3
years. 2
Like
years.
3.
off
a year
by
later,
3.
A year, like 3 years. Excuse me. Yeah, you're right.
But
A year
yeah.
later, he's opening
No, it's
WrestleMania.
yeah.
No, it is 2. It is 2.
Mhm.
Okay, he was in the WWE title match at 21. So
Right,
close enough.
Close enough.
Mhm.
But what I'm saying is, a year later, he's opening WrestleMania in a title match. A year later, WWE title match at WrestleMania.
And then a year
So,
after main event
then after
WrestleMania.
that, yeah. So,
But in the end, Matt Hardy defeated Rey Mysterio in 5 minutes 37 seconds.
Also, a quick thing. It looked like they were going to have a Matt and Jeff feud because they were starting to tease that
Back at the
No Way
Rumble.
Out.
Yeah, at the Rumble.
Back at the Rumble, but especially at No Way Out. But it felt I feel like they were going to do it probably here, but I think
Because Jeff was on
Yeah.
his way out.
Yeah.
It would be about a month after this when he was fired. Actually, probably within weeks of this, he was gone.
Yeah. But now moving on to match number 2, it's a handicap match. Big Show and A-Train versus The Undertaker.
God.
Originally,
What the fuck?
Originally, this was set to be a tag team match of Big Show and A-Train versus Undertaker and the upcoming Nathan Jones.
And you know somebody fucking sucks when he gets taken out of a match with 3 safe workers.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Monster
Yeah.
of Bongo Road.
Yeah, because he was green as fuck.
Oh
Green as
my
goose
god.
shit.
Green
Green
as
as-
leprechauns.
Green as Hulk's giant turds. Green as
Oh,
Gamora's...
that Hulk. Okay, sorry. Context, pal.
Hulk Hogan's turds.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going with it.
Well,
No.
didn't you know
Right.
Hulk
I
Hogan
didn't
had
know.
green turds? He said so himself.
Wow.
And if he said it, it must be true.
Must be true, brother.
But-
And to think too that I think Nathan Jones would be a world champion of some sorts. I think after this is mind-boggling to say the least.
But anyways, so... Yeah, we end up getting a handicap match, and Limp Bizkit comes out to perform Rollin', which Taker hadn't used in over a year up to this point. And the match itself, I'm not going to say it's Taker's worst Mania match, but it was still
Yeah.
Should have been
It went-
Taker Big Show 1-on-1.
The No Way Out match should have been here.
Now, you guys... Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead,
In terms
Ricky.
of the streak matches, I mean, that was at the very bottom next to fucking Gonzalez.
I wouldn't say it's that bad.
I still think this is better than the Bundy match.
Now, you guys would probably know this more than I would. Is this Taker's earliest match ever in WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Second match on the card.
Yeah.
And that's fucked up.
That should tell you how strong this card was.
Yeah.
The fact that Undertaker, the fucking Undertaker, is playing right after Curtain Jerker.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say this match is particularly bad per se. It's just unremarkable. There's nothing really.
It's
to the
just
match.
there. It's
predictable.
just a footnote. It's just a footnote in the streak.
Like this match is leaps and bounds better than Taker and Gonzalez, but Taker could have pissed all over the mat and still had a better match. Than
I mean,
well, I will say, better than Bundy, better than Gonzalez, and better than Bossman. There you go. Though it's still near the bottom when it comes to the streak matches.
Yeah.
Again, you look at all the talent that they had. That SmackDown was like on top at this point.
Oh yeah, they're on.
It's
fire.
it's kind of like Taker kind of got lost in the shuffle because he couldn't work with Kurt because Kurt was working with Brock. He couldn't work with Benoit because Benoit was teaming with Rhino. He couldn't take on like Rey Mysterio, for God's sake. Like he didn't really have anyone to face, in all honesty. So here, just take on a 6-foot giant and a guy that refuses to shave.
Him and A-Train could have been a better match. Them one-on-one. Granted, they had a match at SummerSlam that sucked, but that's not their fault. The story there was not about them. Here, you could have had the match, those two.
But alas, Taker defeats Big Show and A-Train in 12 minutes, 42 seconds.
Why? After Nathan Jones interfered, so DQ streaks ended.
Yeah.
Also, I do want to say this real quick. I would gladly watch Motorhead's concert for Triple H over the Limp Bizkit, because at least Motorhead is a band.
Right.
Yeah. But moving on to match number 3, the second championship match of the night, a triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship. Champion Victoria with Steven Richards versus challengers Jazz and Trish Stratus. So this is like the culmination of 3 different feuds. Victoria and Jazz, Trish and Jazz, and Trish and Victoria, so why not put the 3 of them together? This match, I feel, mostly revolved around the Trish-Victoria feud more than anything, considering these two had been going at it since the fall of the year prior, with the chair shot and the table spots and the hardcore match at Survivor Series where Victoria got the belt and held on to it since. And Jazz, yeah, she'd been feuding in and out with Trish over for the past year and a half. And Victoria and Jazz had just started going at each other, but still it made sense to put them all together. And I will say, this was up to this point the best women's match in WrestleMania history. I thought this was a really good triple threat.
Yeah, it was.
Yep,
solid match.
Very solid.
Yep.
And Trish and Jazz would actually feud a little bit after this as well.
Yeah. This was just when Jazz came back from injury.
Right.
But she has a lot of injuries. I love Jazz, don't get me wrong, but damn, she's made a class. She really is.
Yeah.
And Stevie plays his part in this match too. He does, he does a couple of the things there to interfere and so forth, but just enough, not like crazy, like we'll see later on from another person. But
then he bonks himself in the head with the chair, and Jared's like, "Wow, what an idiot!
Brilliantly done.
An idiot."
But yeah, just really good action between the 3, and in the end, Trish Stratus defeated Victoria and Jazz in 10 minutes 17 seconds to become new women's champions. So our first title change of the night.
This crowd was pretty white hot for her too. Like that crowd roared when Trish won.
Yeah.
Moving on to match number 4, the third of 5 championship matches of the night. Another triple threat match, this time for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Champions Team Angle of Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin versus challengers Los Guerreros, Eddie and Chavo, and Chris Benoit and Rhino. So yeah, kind of weird match structuring having back-to-back triple threats. You could have put the handicap match in between just to change the flow of the card, but I digress. But this was another really good
Originally, it was supposed to be Benoit and Edge as a team, but of course, Edge was injured.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Benoit and Rhino were still a pretty solid team, though.
Yeah, gave Rhino something to do.
That's true. Yeah.
It just seems weird. Like, Benoit and Rhino.
They have the history with the neck surgeries. That was basically
bond.
the explanation of them being a team. It's like, hey, I had a neck surgery. Oh, hey, I had a neck surgery. Let's be a team.
Right.
Hey, you about paralyze yourself? I about crippled myself. Let's be friends.
Hey, I team with Edge. Hey, I used to team with Edge. You know, Edge isn't here. Really? I could be your partner. Okay.
It's kind of like in Step Brothers. Did we just become friends?
Yep.
Yep. You want to do karate in the garage?
Yep. But still, really good triple threat here.
You should see what I do with my. You should see what I do with my family. You know, I have my wife that's on the phone. I have my son that's about to fall asleep.
Okay, boss,
Oh,
we got
stop.
it.
No, we're not going there. But anyway, so yeah, really good triple threat for sure. But in the end, Team Angle defeated Chris Benoit and Rhino and Los Guerreros in 11 minutes 48 seconds. So you could call those 4 matches almost like the preliminary matches for this show, because now we get into the big 5 of this show,
the quintuple main event. I'm shocked they didn't call it that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
This is the juicy stuff. This is the juicy
Main
stuff.
event spectacles.
Because now coming up, match number 5, the first of the big 5, Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels. So we go back to the Royal Rumble when it was Jericho and Shawn at 1 and 2, and the sneak attack, chair shot, bloody Shawn, and then later on Shawn interferes in the Rumble to get his revenge. Then we got to the stuff at No Way Out, and then just the build up to this match. I will honestly say, out of all the matches heading into the show, this was the match I got the best build up out of them all.
And originally, this match wasn't supposed to happen. Like, their highlight reel segment was supposed to be a one and done, but then when Jericho got backstage, Vince was like, "You hear that?" It's like, "Hear what?" "I hear money." And then off to the races.
There we go.
Which is smart, which is very smart. And I also like how the buildup is Jericho wants to out Shawn Michaels. He wants to outdo his idol.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's the big thing, because as most people already know, but for those who don't, Shawn was Chris's number 1 influence to get into wrestling. Even more than the Harts or any Canadian wrestler. It was Shawn and Steamboat, particularly for Jericho. So
you look at a lot... Jericho had his old tapes where he would do stuff move for move that Shawn did in his Rockers days, and they would sync up how it was all similar.
They edited it all together.
Which was brilliant. Like, the promo package for this match was amazing. And, of course, like... And then I also love how on, like, the Shawn Michaels documentary DVD that came out 4 years after this match, they always play it up with the interviews with Shawn and Chris separately about how, like, yeah, Jericho just loves Shawn and he just always wanted to work with him. And this had to have been, like, Jericho had to have felt like a little kid in a candy store when he found out he was going to get to work against his idol.
I mean, think about with Jericho's career, he got to work with his 2 influences. He got to work Shawn, and he got to work Steamboat.
Yeah.
How many wrestlers can say they worked with their idols?
Right.
Not many.
Not that many.
And the fact this was Shawn's first WrestleMania
in 5 years.
5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, he hadn't been wrestling much either. He was only...
It was supposed to be a one and done.
I don't even know if he had I don't even know if he had a dozen matches in since his comeback.
Yeah,
he only had like a handful of matches because he had his return match at SummerSlam. Then he came back.
Took a couple months off, and then
he had the Chamber. He had a defense against Van Dam. He had the
Three Stages of Hell, Armageddon.
Then he had the Rumble. He may have had a couple of other matches. So yeah, not that many.
Yeah, I mean, talk about the pressure for not only Jericho, but for Shawn at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the match itself, and holy shit, an all-time classic Mania match.
Classic.
We'll need a cigarette after this, man.
And it's definitely Jericho's best Mania match.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it's just
one-
another amazing.
It's
WrestleMania
one of
match for
Shawn's
Shawn.
best as well. And
Yeah.
Shawn's had a fucking myriad of great matches at WrestleMania.
I'd say
Yeah.
it's a top 5, arguably top 3 Shawn Mania match.
Yeah, maybe.
It's up there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a list we could do, ranking all Shawn Michaels' WrestleMania matches
Oh,
next
Every
year.
single one.
Heading
yeah.
into WrestleMania 40 next year.
Which you know what? That could be like a running theme for next March. We'll
We rank
depending
not
on-
a top 10, but just rank.
rank
Yeah.
them all, like, and depending on how many weeks in March we have Saturdays next March, we could do 4 or 5 rank 'em alls. Shawn,
Which-
Taker, and fill in whoever else.
Yeah, this match, it's kind of like a blueprint of like old school versus new school. Like it was kind of like watching. You could tell it's like watching a Steamboat match. Just these guys have worked so great. Like name a bad Shawn and Jericho match.
You can't.
No.
No. These
Even
two
their
had
weakest-
amazing chemistry from day one.
Even
This
their,
match-
I'd argue their weakest one is maybe like they had a match on Raw for the IC title, like after Unforgiven. That was still a pretty damn good match.
Yeah. And who to think 5 years later they'd have a better feud between the
Yeah.
two in 2008 when Jericho's the cold heel.
Right.
So
Like
yeah,
that their unsanctioned match and their ladder match.
back to
Holy
back.
sh- their ladder match, I dare say, is just as good as this one here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh yeah, it's
But
really good.
this
in the
match,
end- but
phenomenal.
Yeah, but in the end, it's like Shawn tried to win with the super kick. Didn't work, so went to a victory roll of all things. And 1, 2, 3, Shawn Michaels defeated Chris Jericho in 22 minutes, 31 seconds. And then the excellent post-match where Shawn gives his props to Jericho, offers a handshake. Jericho, the big hug. Boom! The kick to the nuts,
Oh,
like
wow.
the ultimate betrayal. Like, how could you, Jericho? How could you? Just
Now
brilliant.
you can also argue that maybe Jericho should have won just to give him the rub, but
Didn't necessarily
the pay-
need it at this point.
Yeah, because it's Shawn just
He already,
came back.
went to WrestleMania before. He was last match at WrestleMania a year ago. He didn't
Yeah.
need a rub.
Yeah, and on top of
Yeah,
that, this
but-
was Shawn's first Mania match in
Right.
5 years, so...
And also, does anyone really cared about Jericho's main event match from last year? No, because
course
the feud was
No.
terrible.
Yeah.
That's besides the point.
But now, moving on... Oh, sweet lord, we're already here.
We're here.
Up next, match number 6, the 4th of 5 championship matches of the night. For the World Heavyweight Championship, champion Triple H with Ric Flair versus challenger Booker T. So...
Where
Where do we
start
begin
this?
on this build? So we go back to
Well,
the month
back in
prior.
the 1700s, white people used to bring black people over from another country. Oh, never. Well, that's too far. I'm sorry.
Oh, Jesus
Is
Is
Christ.
it Triple H with
Yeah.
3 Ks?
Yeah, let's move ahead.
All right,
Sorry.
so I'll go through it. So we've rewind over a month and a half prior. Booker T wins a battle royal to get the title shot by
Which
last
was
eliminating
shocking.
The Rock.
That was
Which-
shocking. Like, I remember seeing that. I'm like, whoa. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
like what? Booker? That's odd.
You didn't expect it because
No.
Booker had just come out of the team with Goldust.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were still kind of together at this point, but just
But it
weren't
was
doing
one of
matches,
those.
but-
But after the initial shock, it's like, well, they're actually gonna use Booker in a big spot.
singles
That's
role,
great.
yeah. And then we get to
Well-
And then that
then-
promo.
And then the promo. Now, I will say, this promo has been one of those debated promos in
Fuck
years
Bruce
since.
Pritchard's explanation.
Mm-hmm.
He meant it like WCW guy, not the what everyone else thinks
Very
it
good,
is.
Bruce. We get it. Sure.
I mean, what I will say, people can interpret that however they want. It's up to them. I will say, like, the whole part of, like, people like you should make people like me laugh. It's like, okay, it's like everything else, you can interpret it however you want, but that part right there, I was like,
Are we
okay.
going back to WCW 91 with Luger and Ron Simmons?
Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
I will say, this is Dick Murdoch's favorite wrestling angle of all time. You get it, you get it. You get it.
But with the build up here, it's like you would think, given the build up, we would get a great outcome. It's like what they could have done instead of doing this stupid shit. They could have just been like, "Hey Booker, you're only a big top guy in WCW. You ain't never gonna be a top guy here." And Booker could be like, "No, screw you. I can be the guy and be an influence for all youth." And it would have been perfect. And credit, the match itself was actually a pretty good match until the finish.
Too long.
Yeah.
Went long, and then we got that finish, which
The
I will
finish,
say,
which was even
30
longer.
Fucking seconds.
which I will
You can
say,
count one tick tock.
yeah,
What
This match
the
is one of those-
fuck?
This match is one of those cases where the match is good. The only thing
Finish
that's
was
memorable
bad.
is the only thing that's memorable is
the build and the finish. Yeah.
And another thing that's bad in this match, and Arthur Jones just mentioned in the chat, fucking Lawler's commentary.
Oh god,
Yeah.
that was horrible.
I had to turn it on mute. I'm like, I'm freaking sick of this shit. Like, shut
Yeah.
the fuck up. Is there a turn Lawler off button?
That's what you want. We want WWE Network, Peacock. Please arrange it so you can change the settings to turn off commentary. Do something about that, because there's so many matches from this time period. You just want to shut fucking Lawler up, especially women's matches.
Please.
Boobies, puppies, I saw panties. Ugh.
It was endearing for a little bit, and then it got egregious.
It's because Vince liked it. And he's like, "Yeah, keep it going, pal. It's funny." Ha ha.
And you could tell JR was like, JR wasn't like playing kayfabe annoyed. He was
he was
legit
sick of
getting annoyed by it.
He was sick of it.
Yeah. But yeah, then the finish. Pedigree, both laid out for 30 seconds. Hunter puts one arm on Booker, which it's like typically when you see that, the guy's going to kick out. 1, 2, 3. And Triple H defeats Booker
What?
T in 18 minutes, 47
What?
seconds to retain.
Cut
the World
5
Heavyweight
minutes
Championship.
off.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's like, we look back on the whole reign of terror like everybody should have beaten Triple H at some point.
No,
This is
not
one of the
everybody.
This is one of the few times where Triple H should have lost.
Yeah.
Even
He
if
could've taken
Booker,
the hit.
even if Booker's reign was only going to be a month and you put the belt back on Triple H at Backlash, fine. Anything, or even Booker win by DQ would have been better than what they did here. And well,
players interference, because he was in there too plenty of times.
yeah. And I forgot the point I was making in a previous episode, but I would have rather have had a certain match go down in a different way than to see Booker get buried on this night.
And I could excuse the finish if like both men are exhausted, like they beat the hell out of each other, like they're both bleeding, they're basically like exhausted, and
That would be
then,
one
like,
thing, yeah.
That would be one thing, but no, they just had like a kind of like a standard match. Hunter hits one pedigree and takes like 30 years to pin Booker, and Booker's push is dead. Like, okay,
For
yeah, you
3
gave it.
years.
Yep.
Yeah, you gave him the IC title, but at what cost? This did nothing for it. Made Triple H look worse.
Yeah.
It made this was a terrible. I truly don't think Triple H wanted to do
It's
this.
just bad. It's bad business. It's bad. I agree with that too. I really don't think he wanted to, but this is at that time he was still answering to another dude.
because actually originally Booker was supposed to win. He originally was set to book to win the match, but Creative decided, nah, we want Hunter. And yeah.
Bruce
But enough
Prichard
talking
just still
about-
a kiss ass.
Yeah,
But enough
moving
talking
on.
about the bad stuff. Back to the real good shit. Up next, match number 7. The street fight of 20 years in the making.
Ooh.
Vince
They-
McMahon versus
honestly-
Hulk Hogan.
To be fair, this maybe could have main evented
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they were. This was on the poster. This was the thing they were hyping the show up the most about.
And on the DVD cover, too.
It's this match. I mean, you could make a case, like, instead of doing Rock Hogan the year before, you could have done Hogan Austin in 18, Hogan Rock, Hogan Austin 18, Hogan Rock 19, Hogan Vince at 20.
Mm-hmm.
But doing it here, holy crap,
yeah.
this was huge.
This was
Yeah.
yeah.
It's basically who helped made WrestleMania the event it is. Was it Hulk Hogan's popularity or Vince's creative ideas?
What
And I
came
think
first,
it
the
was-
chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, the answer is the chicken. But moving on. It's a long story. I won't take time to explain it. But I want to say that Vince wouldn't book himself in the main event of a WrestleMania over the championship match.
Yeah.
No,
And that's why this match is not the main event. Because I think it should have been. Even back then, I thought it should have been. But and not looking at it, after the fact, just looking at the show itself.
This was the biggest match on the card.
right.
Yes.
This is the
Yes.
oldest
The biggest-
feud, biggest match.
I am a full proponent of biggest match, biggest story that should go last.
Yep.
This
We'll
is
get
it.
to that point again later on.
No offense to the title matches, no offense to Austin and Rock. This here was bigger than everything else.
The out of it could have been. You could have said it was. It would. I know it'd sound very weird to say this, but you could have said it was unsanctioned, and so that's why it's after the championship match. Then you're like, why is the owner of the company in an unsanctioned match? Shouldn't he automatically sanction it? But wrestling logic.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's fucking wrestling.
But the story of this.
The story is what makes it.
because of Vince, everything's got to be smoke and mirrors. Like it's all.
Which
smoke
I was
and
just
mirrors.
about to say. When we get to the match itself, yeah, a lot of smoke and mirrors, but holy shit, was this match very fucking
First
good.
off, I hate the fact that they edited Voodoo Child off the network.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so glad I still have my original version to hear Voodoo Child. Because hearing Hogan around this time without Voodoo Child, it's so, like, he needs that.
Very weird.
And then, of course, this match, one of the bloodiest matches in company history.
The spot of Vince coming up all bloody, that's horror movie shit right there.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
him doing
exactly.
a leg drop off a ladder
Here's
through
Johnny.
the announce
Oh.
table.
That was crazy.
How many times you see Hogan go through a fucking table?
Not often.
Not
if
that
at all.
often.
One time.
Yeah.
This match has always been one of the guiltiest pleasures. I still say this is one of the best Mania matches of all time. Like, these guys damn near stole the show. Because it's not a technical masterpiece.
No.
Not
It's
supposed
not-
to be.
It's not supposed to be. It's about two men wanting to beat the hell out of each other, and it didn't resort to weapons.
Like legit. I mean, they hated each other at times.
Well,
no
it's
joke.
Vince. He doesn't know how to throw a worked punch.
No.
Right.
You
And
know
then-
why Shane? You know why Shane throws the punches he does? Because who did he learn from?
And then,
Well,
of course, and then, of
We all
course,
know-
and then,
we
of
all know
course,
Walter loves
and then, of course, the return of Rowdy Piper.
Roddy.
Out of
Which was a
nowhere.
shock.
That
Yeah.
was the big
Nowhere.
fuck of this match.
Like, whoa! Oh my god! Are they going to set up Hogan Piper for WrestleMania 20?
Which they
And that was
could
probably-
have.
Yeah, that was probably an idea. That was
Because-
thrown around the door.
Because they announced on this night WrestleMania 20 is going to be at the Garden.
Yep.
It's like, oh, that would have been perfect
Yes.
for 20 years later.
Let's be honest now, that match would have sucked.
Yes, but,
Yeah.
but look,
Yeah.
the crowd would have been into it, and it'd been better than Goldberg Brock. Moving on.
Yes. You really would have.
I do want to point out another thing. God damn it. Hugo took a fucking chair to the head in this match, too.
Yes, he
Yeah.
does.
You know how much
Jesus
abuse he
Christ.
took over the years?
Poor
that,
bastard.
that dude's been through. He
You
has
wonder-
earned his
God.
pay.
You wonder why he was doing yayo with Jake Roberts in Mexico, for God's sake.
Poor Ugo. He literally, when he was commenting for Hell in the Cell, like, oh, boom, what the?
And he just fell over when the table broke.
I wonder what Spanish commentary for that match
I
was.
I always
swear,
want to
if
hear that.
somebody out there has a Spanish commentary for Hell in the Cell for King of the Ring '98, fucking send it. I want to hear his reaction.
Oh yeah. Any of the matches that time, anytime they were going to the fucking table, you just want to see the feet get cut out or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the end, Hulk
Great
Hogan
match.
defeated Vince McMahon in 20 minutes, 48 seconds.
Yeah, one thing we forgot about this was Hogan's career on the line.
Yeah, that's two.
And then it was like the SmackDown after he was fired anyway.
Right.
To come back as Mr.
Mr.
America.
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 Yeah.
American
Then he would
Maniacs,
have-
brother.
Are
He
you
would have
Hulk
a
Hogan?
career resurgence.
No.
No,
Ding,
no,
ding,
no.
ding.
Wait, wasn't this also when the build-up when Hogan said the right gay guy?
Yes.
Yes.
That was
That's what I thought.
legendarily bad.
Jeez, Hogan, tell us how you really feel. You
I just remembered that we saw a rehash of this. They did the lie detector test with Mr. America, and then we saw that with fucking Ezekiel and Kevin Owens last year. Jesus,
Yeah.
how about that?
And we cannot forget the classic Mr. America, where he had classic matches with Roddy Piper in 2003. Oh God, please murder me.
Well, apparently Mr. America took off his mask at a live event and was revealed to be Hulk Hogan. Therefore, he has been fired. That was the
Because somebody
Mr.
couldn't
America
get
was Hulk
along with
Hogan?
somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got Zach Gowen out of it, I guess. Okay.
But
No,
anyways,
they-
so
no,
now
actually-
moving
Yeah.
on. So now moving on to match number 8, the penultimate
Part
match of
3.
WrestleMania 19, Part 3, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock. So the build up to this one, very odd build, I will say. So pretty much after Rock lost the Battle Royal to Booker, he decided to cut a promo saying, well, The Rock's done it all except beat that bald candy ass at WrestleMania. And we get the match, and in the meantime, because we know with Austin, we'll get to that in a second, but in the meantime, you had The Rock feuding with the Hurricane, which was some of the best television during this time.
For a short feud.
Whoa. This isn't what they call The Rock. The Rock. Yeah, he's the big fella.
Easy, fella.
Credit to Dwayne for putting him over.
Yeah,
Yes.
all Rock's idea to work with him and put him over. So kudos to Dwayne on that. And of course, the legendary Rock concert.
You're the man.
Mm-hmm.
Calling Hurricane the Hamburglar.
But I'll be sure
Now-
to come back when the Lakers beat the Kings in May. Boo!
Now, I will say, originally this match was supposed to be the main event. But then came the night before WrestleMania.
Where Stone Cold tells the story on his documentary. He was working out with Kevin Nash and felt his legs being very shaky and trembly that day, and then he is on the elevator getting to his hotel and described it as an anxiety attack times 20, and had to get one of the assistants to help call the hospital, get him sent and checked up, and turns out severe dehydration because he was drinking too much horse shit and not taking care of himself.
Too much
And-
coffee, too much energy drinks, and elevated blood pressure.
Yeah, and 4 pints of water put into his system, and
He almost wasn't cleared.
That's
thankfully he did get cleared. And then, and even as we talked about for No Way Out, Austin perfectly described this. It was like after the whole Deborah shit, and he took it like a man, redeemed himself afterwards, and then coming back here, he said that mentally he was perfectly fine now, but as he said it, his body was like, Steve, get your ass out of here.
And as we find out on the Mania of WrestleMania, the documentary of this, it's like, yeah, this is my last match.
Yep.
Yep. This was it for him, man.
And only like one other person knew that it was going to be it.
Yeah, only Rock, Vince, maybe one other person.
And no, that was it.
Yeah.
I think
Taker must have
JR
known.
was smartened up to it because the commentary he speaks when Austin is after the match is over and he's walking up the ramp, it's very when I remember watching that in real time, and Austin's walking up the ramp, and then when JR started talking, it was kind of like, I think I was with my wife. I think my wife and I were watching it together. I said, I think he's done. No, I think the way he's talking, I think he's done. And
a quote silent retirement.
Yeah,
because they didn't do a big ceremony or anything like that.
And that's not Steve's style. That's not what Steve wanted.
He wanted it this way.
Yeah, this is the way he wanted to go
because
out.
I think Austin by this point, I think he was checked out.
Not mentally, physically checked out. Well, the year before he was mentally checked out because
he was
of
both.
the booking. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the neck
stuff
issue
happened, the neck issues,
neck issues lead to all different kinds of other problems. Back problems, which leads to hip problems, which leads to knee problems, which leads to mobility problems, which leads to mentality problems, which leads to drinking problems and violent problems and domestic abuse problems. And you see where we're going with this. So,
yeah.
It
was just a downward spiral the year before. But like I said, thankfully, after he made peace with all that, he was able to get himself.
Had to apologize to everybody in the locker room.
And what did Vince fine him, like $500,000, $650,000?
$250,000.
Yes.
It was originally like
$650,000.
Yeah.
And then he dropped it to $250,000.
Right.
Yeah. But we get the match itself, and easily the weakest of the three, but still a really good match. It was mostly a greatest hits match, which
it was greatest hits.
Yeah. It was appropriate.
Now, I've seen people call this the best one of the three. It's like, no.
You never top 17.
This was the worst of the three. I thought 15 was better.
But still a really good match.
17, 15, 19.
Yeah. It's like, it's the weakest, but it's still a really good match for what it is.
It's still good, yeah.
I would kind of disagree that it's the weakest. In terms of, like, brawling, yeah, it's by far the weakest. But I can agree, but I kind of like this one just a smidge bit more than 15, because just by personal preference.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
and there was the cool spots where they did each other's finishers, and Rock with the Austin vest was fucking great.
On the stunner like he always does.
Overselling the stunner.
Like crazy, yeah.
Like, there's no way in hell this was going to beat 17. Like, besides the finish, that match is typically the best Mania match of all time.
Yeah,
it's just,
one of.
Or Mania main event.
Or best Mania main event of all time, yeah.
But without the fluky-ass finish, but...
Yeah.
This match was fun. I genuinely thought this was a fun match. You could tell these guys were just having a blast, and Rock.
It was their greatest hits.
Right.
Yeah,
we're gonna hit all our shit. We're gonna hit all your shit. We're gonna give each other our shit, and then you're gonna give me 3, and that's it. All right.
And Rock gets the 1, 2, 3, and then afterwards they talk. Thank you.
Thank you, and I love you.
Thank you, I love you.
Brother, and thank you for everything you did. And wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. And
then Rock just leaves.
Yep.
Yeah.
As he should. The right thing to do. That's respect. So.
And in the end, The Rock finally defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania in 17 minutes, 54 seconds. Now to the main event, match number 9 in the 5th and final championship match of the night for the WWE Championship. Champion Kurt Angle versus challenger Brock Lesnar. So we rewind back to the Rumble. Well, actually, even before that, Survivor Series. Brock loses the title to Big Show thanks to Paul Heyman turning on him. Then the month later at Armageddon, Kurt, out of nowhere, turns babyface to face Big Show for the belt, wins the belt, and then turns heel thanks to Brock, and then turns heel because Paul Heyman's now with Kurt. Then we got the Rumble, where Brock won the Rumble. They had their stuff at No Way Out, which, of course, we talked about with the match during the review last month, the neck break from that whiplash effect into the corner.
Which led to the build-up here where Kurt was almost pulled for Mania because his neck was so bad, Vince told him, "You're dropping the belt." Mm-hmm. And they were going to do it on an episode of SmackDown like a couple weeks beforehand. Brock was going to F5 him 1, 2, 3. Brock was going to be heading into champ, and had that happened, it'd have been him and Benoit for the belt. But then Kurt decided, I'm going to go through with this.
Which kudos to Kurt, like he wanted to do the honors properly and not.
And it's like I'm gonna do this match. I'm gonna get the surgery afterwards, but this is my Mania. This is my main event.
I actually think there was a rumor that I think Benoit was actually supposed to win the title at the Rumble and then drop it to Brock here.
No, I don't think that was supposed to happen.
It could have been a rumor.
I mean, it's plausible, but who knows if that's true.
That'd have been a babyface match, though.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of rumors
Which
about
you
that.
could have gotten away with it. You could have. You could have gotten away with doing a face match.
Just the fact that Kurt was willing to do this in the state he was in was kudos, all respect.
And then the match itself.
For business too.
Yeah, and then the match itself, this is another one of those debated matches. Some people say it was a meh match, some people say it was great. I thought it was a very good main event for WrestleMania.
It was a good main event until the finish.
Yeah, so it was good back and forth between the two, and then we get to the finish, which the original finish, after the F5, Brock was going to do what he did in OVW in the dark matches when he was starting, do the shooting star press, and as Kurt said, he was doing it perfectly during the day, going across the ring, no problem.
If Brock hits the shooting star, it's the greatest finish in Mania history.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But he under-rotated and right on his forehead.
Swore, it's like, is he dead?
Yep.
Because that could have caused internal decapitation.
Yeah. If his neck was not as strong as it was, he would have died.
And Kurt in his mind is like, oh shit, I'm going to have to delay surgery another month because Brock's fucking dead.
I'm not screwed himself.
And then
they had to audible a finish.
It's like you had a great match and then the finish just like,
painful.
Yeah.
You go from what could have been the greatest finish to one of the weakest finishes to a Mania match. Because it's, Brock got the win. Brock won the title, but it's like, you could tell Brock was all screwed up.
Yeah, Brock.
You hear the story of Kurt after this match where he went into shock.
Yep.
Like, this could have been disastrous.
There's the footage on during the Mania documentary there where they show Brock after the match, and
he was out of it when they're trying to help him. He's like, get the fuck away from me!
Everyone's like, no, calm down!
Get that camera out of my face!
You have to do all that shit, yeah.
And it's like, Brock's the last person you would want to piss off.
Right.
That's Kurt Hennig in the airplane.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, God.
I still always wonder what would happen if that door would have opened.
Oh, it probably would have if no one would have blocked it. The ending to this match, it was so anticlimactic. Like, that was the biggest thing that kind of hurt the match, is that, Brock just hit an F5 after he basically died. Brock's the new champion, and he's immediately out of it.
You can tell in the look of his face, like, the lights were on,
but
he was in freaking, he was in nowhere.
He was in bars. He was in
La La Land. He was like,
And looking back on it, I've always either was like, okay, did he slip? Did he miss time? Or did he go way too short?
Kurt was too far away.
Kurt it's on the bounce. Yeah. Watch Brock. When he gets up there, he kind of stutter steps on the bounce, and that kills his rotation, as Leeway was saying, so he couldn't get the full rotation in that distance. He could have made it distance-wise, but because he mistimes that bounce, nerves, flash bulbs going off in your face. Try it, folks. Try it with how many thousand people looking at you. All the pressure's on you. You're the new hot guy in town. This is your big main event of WrestleMania. Don't fuck up, okay? Well, guess what?
And it's your first ever Mania match, too.
And
no pressure.
It's the first main event ever where it's two guys who both are using their real names.
Yeah, that's a good point, too.
No pressure.
And another thing,
Olympian, an NCAA champion. It's like, the more credibility, you couldn't throw any more credibility on this match.
And another thing, too, I saw, there was a video that this one gentleman named, he had a top 10 most overrated Mania matches. It's a YouTuber by the name of Patrick's Crazy Place.
Yep.
He said this is the most overrated Mania match. He thought it was a solid match, but people overrate it. And I'm thinking like, okay, I could certainly understand that. I still think it's a good match. But again, the ending is more memorable than the match itself. You can have a 5-star classic. You have a screwy as hell finish or anticlimactic finish. That's what everyone's going to remember. Lo and behold, Brock basically died, and he is your new champion.
Their SummerSlam match was better, and their Iron Man match was better.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
But in the end, Brock Lesnar defeated Kurt Angle with a third F5 in the end in 21 minutes, 7 seconds to become new WWE champion.
You had the show of respect. You had the great video package. You had the hype of Goldberg coming in.
Because, the next night, Goldberg debuts. So overall, WrestleMania 19, I will still say it's a top 3 WrestleMania of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Question.
5.
But
I'll go further. I'd say it's the best Mania ever.
I was about to say that some people look at this as better than X7.
Well, because taking in the fact that, one, no one almost got the power to this Mania. Raven.
Nice.
One, number 2, we didn't have a stupid ass heel turn that no one wanted.
We also had Brock almost die. So
that's fair.
And also Booker being buried.
Yeah, that deal too.
Just because I say it's the best Mania in terms of card wise, that does not mean it's a perfect Mania.
By the way, we did technically forget a match.
Not even talking about
the Miller Lite Catfight Girls that walked the tag title match off to
There was a referee. There was a referee in there, so it's a match. It counts.
No, it was entertainment. It was a segment.
There you go.
Yeah, that's all it was a segment. Moving on.
There you go.
So overall, WrestleMania 19.
Don't say you weren't entertained by it back in the day.
Yeah, hello.
Anyways.
Hall of Famer Tori Wilson was a part of this, and soon-to-be Hall of Famer Stacy Keibler was a part of this.
Oh, we'll get to that here later. We'll get to that here in a bit.
Anyways, so, there you go, WrestleMania 19. Now on to favorite, least favorite, sleeper, and shocker. Favorite, Shawn Jericho.
Great.
Yeah.
Shawn Jericho.
Hogan Vince.
That's my second favorite. I think
Shawn,
close, so.
Shawn and Chris, amazing match. It's hard. I don't even want to say that's a sleeper because I think that's an insult.
Yeah, that would be an insult.
But like Hogan Vince for me is, it's more. I hesitate to use the term realistic in its execution, but just the blood and the big. Like James was saying, it's the story. That big, huge. It's got the bigger story of the night than only one bigger than Jericho and Michael. So for me, it's Hogan and Vince for my favorite.
Well, I think for least favorite,
2 guys in their 50s fighting. It's like you'd expect them to fight like that.
It's the Grandpa Death match.
And then I think we're all in agreement. Least favorite, the handicap match.
Yeah, that was.
Even then, I don't think it was still bad. It was just. It was just
an match. It just should have been Taker versus Big Show.
Right. It should have been.
It wasn't anything offensive. It was just unremarkable.
Sleeper.
Now, sleeper, you could honestly take your pick with so many matches. You could go the women's title match. You go the tag title match. You could go
the opener, the Cruiserweight title.
Yeah. I'm actually going to give it to the tag title match.
I will too. I'll say the tag title.
Title.
Title match.
I'll give it to the women. I'll give it to the women.
Shocker.
Now, shocker.
Brock didn't die.
Yeah. That Brock attempted a shooting star when nobody saw him do it on television.
99.9% of people never saw him do it. It's like, what's he do? Brock doesn't do that.
Right.
Why is this mountain? Why is this Russian bear?
Why is this fucking bowling pin of a guy doing this?
Now, Again, if he hits it, it's a Mania moment we talk about forever.
Yeah, well, we
It's in the
still talk about
highlights.
today, but for
do.
the opposite
We
reason.
do, but for bad reasons.
For the opposite reasons, yeah.
Brock,
You can also-
Brock redeems himself this year by hitting it on Omos.
There you go.
my god!
You
That
Oh
would
my
be
God.
funny as fuck.
Now, again, we laugh, but it's one of those, if he actually did it, nobody would see it coming. Because he said many times, I'm never going to try it again.
Yep.
I don't blame him because you
Fucking watch him try it, though, because, hey,
And-
why not?
And he's and the thing we forgot to mention with that, very lucky he only got a concussion out of that, as opposed to what could have happened.
He could have got neck contusion and
A regular
spinal
person,
issues.
do that? Like, they'd have broke their neck, maybe internal decapitation. Like, that would have been
Oh yeah, dead.
bad freaking, yeah. Yeah.
You could also say for shocker that Roddy Piper showed up during
Yeah.
Hogan events.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, because no one saw that coming.
Nope.
No.
Nope. That's a shock.
But anyways,
also
Scott.
Yeah.
But anyways, Scott.
Push Job
so
Endeavor?
Push Job Endeavor.
Oh, jeez. I did not think of this.
I got one.
Go ahead. Fly away.
Alright.
Triple H, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit.
Let's see.
Yes!
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Well, you gotta push Triple H. That's like the
You
obvious
can job
one.
Kurt and Endeavor Benoit.
Benoit.
Yeah, because Benoit can go to
Benoit
Japan.
can do a lot of different stuff and then come back.
Mm-hmm.
Angle, he's
I would
he's
actually-
injured, he's gonna be out, so you can job him and push Triple H because it's Triple H.
And
would
because it's
actually-
2000, because it's 2003, you endeavor Benoit. Benoit goes to TNA and becomes NWA World Champion.
I would actually switch Kurt and Benoit because you can endeavor Kurt so that way he can go get neck surgery, then bring him back, and you can. You can technically push Hunter because it's Triple H and all that stuff, and yeah, you can job Chris as well because Chris wouldn't mind taking pins. And you can also endeavor Kurt so that way he can go get his neck surgery. The other person I was putting into mind was Brock, but I wanted to throw in Benoit because
Now, if it's Brock, you push Brock.
yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
Ricky, who do you push out of Endeavor?
For sure, push Hunter. That's an obvious one. I endeavor Benoit. No, wait. Ah, shit.
And you wonder why I'm not answering this.
No, you're answering, sir.
No, I refuse.
Dude, it's a game,
let it be
man.
known I refuse to answer this one.
It's a game, Levi.
refuse.
But
This
that's
is,
not the third-
this is
that's
not
the third-
real.
Yeah,
This
I'm
is...
pushing Hunter, jobbing Kurt, and endeavoring Benoit.
Okay, I have one now too.
All right.
Okay.
Booker,
worst.
Jericho, Ray.
Booker, Jericho, Ray.
You could push Booker, job Ray, Endeavor, Jericho.
Mm.
Because Jericho can do all the different stuff and then come back.
Mm-hmm.
Ray, you
Yep.
can job because he's so popular, you lose a million times. And Booker, you push.
Yep, I'm going
do
with
that.
that too. Yeah, that's
I
perfect.
would, I would endeavor probably Jericho, but I would actually push Ray because Ray's relatively new to the company at this point. He's only a year.
Less than a
So-
year, yeah.
Less than a year. So jobbing him out at this point is not going to help him, I don't think. So that's why I say I'd push him and job Booker to where he gets so pissed off he turns heel, and then you can start pushing him after that.
Push Ray, job Jericho, Endeavor Booker.
Endeavor Booker. Okay.
Because that way, he could say, I quit, then he could go to maybe some indies, then you can build him up. In kayfabe, he didn't actually quit. It was from a kayfabe standpoint. So that way, Booker can come back and he can finally get his revenge on Triple H. So that way, he can build up his character more. And you can do a story out of that so that way he can redeem himself.
Push Ray, Job Booker, Endeavor Jericho. There.
Go with that.
That's WrestleMania 19. Now time for This Week in Wrestling.
Well, let's start with talking about the Sammy KO stuff from SmackDown last night. It was like the whole show built around that whole shebang. And I like how they're involving Cody into that too. So that way it's like, let's not forget Cody's an integral part of this whole thing too. And him being the mediator and babysitter for the two. Like basically, opening the show. Yeah. You open the show with the segment where KO still just flat out says no. And then Sammy tells KO, okay, I love you no matter what, but just think. And then we get to the end of the show, and then the very end, and the big hug, and that crowd went apeshit, and holy shit.
Yep.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I like how it was exact opposite of what you would expect to happen. You wouldn't expect KO to be the one to say, why don't you want to be my friend? It's like you did not contemplate that. That's not his character. So you're seeing more development of that. So, and the way Sammy just has that face and sells it. And like you said, when he had the cover, by the way, sweet car, Kevin.
Yeah.
Sweet rental, dude.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That reminds me of like, you hear the stories of like the veterans in the 70s and 80s. They all piled into like junkers and drove those things for miles and hours, and cars broke down all the time. But that makes me think back to going to an ECW house show in Middletown, New York, which is Middletown between the Albany Capital District and Poughkeepsie, New York. Poughkeepsie is the Mid-Hudson Civic Center, that area there. Middletown was a small little rec center we went to at this house show. We're standing in line outside to get tickets. Up pops, this is 96, 97. Up comes this Mitsubishi 3000 GT sleek green sports car. Who's fucking driving the thing? Nova. What? And then you find out, you find out that he was a fucking manager at Wendy's, and like making money from like doing that and doing wrestling on the side. Like, fucking Nova drives that. So then you see the car that KO has. Like, sweet ride, bro.
Imagine going up to Nova and he's like, "Yo, dude, I used to show you an ECW. Yeah, you were so great and all that stuff." He's like, "Sir, this is a Wendy's."
This is a Wendy's.
And then of course, right before that, the segment with Sammy and Jay. It's like, yeah, right now Jay's still against Sammy, but they could easily start building towards Jay eventually growing tired of Roman shit and believing Sammy was right. So
planting the seeds.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe back
King Jey Uso.
Yep.
Yeah, mm-hmm. King Jey.
That Kansas City crowd was hot.
They were good.
Ooh,
yep.
Yeah. And also the pop when Ray told Dominic a pathetic, boiled, wannabe punk
ass kid.
Ass.
Yep. It's gonna work. Now let's also talk about as we're gonna stick with the KO Sammy theme for a minute. Rumors are that the night one main event is to be Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. SmackDown Women's title. Here have been strong advocates that there should be a different match that main events night one based on what, James?
The story. And I think us and about 99% of fans agree with this. Because we are Shadow Kvlt is Team Rhea. We freaking love her. Yep. However,
we do.
The story for that match is not a WrestleMania main event.
No.
And apparently the reason they're putting that match last is political reasons. Mm-hmm. Like, we gotta have a men's main event one night and a women's match main event the second night. It's like, that's not a reason to main event.
No.
Because this bloodline stuff, this has been going on for almost a year.
This is the biggest story.
Almost 2.5 years. Yeah.
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 3
Biggest
years.
story going. It's buzzing like crazy. It's getting a ton of exposure for the company. So night 1 should be KO and Sami against the Usos, and night 2 is Roman and Cody. End of story, no argument. And it's no offense to anybody. Last year, having Bianca and Sasha main event night 1, or it was 2 years ago, excuse me, main event night 1 was brilliant. Fantastic. Love to see it. It was good for them. Last year, what were our 2 main events? A retired dude and a Canadian guy, which fell into a brawl, which brought out the old owner of the company and a commentator. That was night 1 main event package. Night 2, Roman and Brock. So it's like, you didn't do it last year. Why doing it this year? Come on.
People are using the argument that, the Rumble winner should main event. Oh, yeah, because that's always happened.
Not always.
Throughout the history, since the title shot was on the line, it's been about 50-50, where the Rumble winner main events and doesn't main event. And it's funny, the same people that say the Rumble winner should main event are the same people who say that Undertaker and Shawn Michaels should have main event in 25.
Right.
Make it make sense, hypocrites.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, because Lex Luger totally should have main evented in 1994.
Yay.
Absolutely.
And also another thing too is that there's some people saying, "Well, Rhea and Charlotte came first. Rhea's trying to redeem herself for 3 years ago." Here is the difference. The story with the bloodline has been continuous. It's about continuity. Rhea and Charlotte, yeah, it was 3 years ago. They never followed up on it.
Nope.
And they're just now following up on it where Rhea wants to get her revenge and wants to take the title off of Charlotte. A different title, but still, Rhea still lost a title to Charlotte.
Wasn't Charlotte Rhea night 2 opening match?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the night 2 opener.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Granted,
it's just... And not to mention, can we both agree, the women's title matches have not been built up.
Oh, no, they've been horribly built.
yeah.
Those are 2 matches I don't care about.
Yeah, because we
I would
know
go further that...
Rhea and Asuka are winning.
Yeah.
Simple
I
as
would
that.
actually go further than that. This doesn't really feel like a Mania build-up, except for the bloodline stuff. Like, literally, I feel like everything else is kind of... I don't know. It doesn't feel like a Mania build-up.
The best matches that have been getting built up for Mania have been the bloodline stuff, Dominic Ray, Edge and Balor,
And Gunther, maybe.
the Gunther Drew Sheamus stuff,
Theory and Cena.
Theory and Cena.
Fury and Cena.
That's
And
pretty much it.
now I'm seeing people say, you could open night 2 with the tag titles. It's
No!
like, you need something for night
No.
1. You need balance.
Mm-hmm.
You need balance there, because it's like, what the hell would you care about night 1 if you put both bloodline stuff night 2?
Mm-hmm.
You start Mania with the main event with the bloodline, and you end a Mania main event with the bloodline.
And hell, why not fucking for your openers? Why not have night 1 open with Charlotte Rhea, catch the crowd while they're at their hottest, and have
Squash
Rhea win
match.
to a big, yeah, exactly.
30-second squash. Crowd go
Just
nuts.
do that. Yeah, just do that. So
Now, let's be fair. If this was Rhea versus Charlotte and Vince was still booking, there's no way in hell he would have put Rhea over.
Nope.
As
No.
dominant as she has been.
No.
no.
Because,
Or if he did, it wouldn't be against Charlotte.
no, God, no. It would have been probably against Asuka
Bianca.
or Bianca.
It'd have been Bianca, and you would have had Asuka versus Charlotte.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which already saw that.
And it's one of these things, if you don't put the tag titles on last, I hope they go first, and then they come backstage and, top that.
Not that. All right,
Yeah.
call the cops. We can stole the show.
Exactly.
Because I hate the term deserve. These 4 deserve the main event
They do.
of night 1.
Yeah.
Because
Replace the word deserved with the word earned.
We've
One.
been saying that since what? Since Survivor Series? Or even
Yeah.
further?
They
Like,
have
Yep.
the Usos, for as great as they've been for 13 years, they have earned the main event. KO and Sammy re-signed to WWE last year and have been knocking it out of the park ever since.
Yeah.
Sammy and
because
if
KO
they're not
stole the show at WrestleMania last year, both nights.
Yeah.
So.
And if
Yeah,
they're not
and
last,
people-
they're going to be put first, and they're going to steal it again and make it hard for everybody else. Good luck having people care.
People are like, well, why did Sammy and KO resign? They should have went to AEW. First of all, Tony Khan wouldn't know what the hell to do with them. They just would have been just two Canadians at a wrestling show. And two, look at what happened to KO. He got to main event Stone Cold Steve Austin at a WrestleMania main event. Something you would have never seen. What has happened to Sammy? He's one of the most over people in the company, if not the most over person in the entire company right now.
Got to be the hometown hero.
He got to main event at a pay-per-view against a world champion. Something no one would have ever thought would happen.
That should have been the compromise. It's like, yeah, you're not going to get the world title at Chamber, but we're going to put you the night one main event.
Exactly.
But
I may
for
not like
stupid
everything
reasons, we're going to have potentially, I hope they change their mind and put the tag last.
I mean,
Because
and I will
why
say,
care? Why
and
care
yet-
about the main event?
And I will say this too, like, if the story with Charlotte and Rhea was much better, then you could make a case, but their story has been nothing.
Nope.
And also, don't do it because you have to appease to the woke people. Like, who cares? Do what is right. But I digress.
The best
Obviously,
story
the
should
woke-
always main event WrestleMania. Because you look at many times in the past, what should have main evented WrestleMania 18?
Yeah.
Hogan Rock.
Hogan Rock.
What did? And nobody cared.
Nobody
Exactly.
cares.
What should have main evented WrestleMania 25? Undertaker Shawn. What did? Nobody cared.
Well, to be
What?
fair, the build to that match really wasn't worth anything of note. It was just like, oh, here's two Hall of Famers having a match. To be
But-
fair, there was not much of a story going into that match.
An unpopular opinion, Kofi and Bryan should have main evented 35. That was the best story heading into that show.
Yeah.
And it was
They
put in-
sacrificed story for history.
They
Yeah.
put it in the middle of the show, and the show peaked, and nobody cared after that. Because Kofi winning was the moment.
Not to mention fucking long. God, that WrestleMania
Yeah.
was so long.
the longest Mania of all time.
Thank God they're 2 nights now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another thing too, let's all admit, at least Rhea and Charlotte, at least the build's getting slightly
Something right
better.
It only
Way
took-
better than Asuka Bianca.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good match. It's gonna be a hell of a match. God, Jesus, that build's been terrible because one, you're evolving Butterface, aka Chelsea Green, and two, you're if I could speak, you are evolving Carmella. No one cares about them, and now they're going to have a random ass tag match. But can they coexist? It's like Vince never left. It feels like.
Regardless,
Let's not go that far. That's
No.
a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Can we also address the huge elephant in the room?
Oh, thank you. You've been talking to my wife, I guess.
Scott,
Oh, you're
you know,
talking about-
you know I never say anything like that.
Okay.
Ricky
The
would.
whole- Damn.
Hey, remember that?
Hey,
Remember
I
that
was like-
time? Remember that one time Ricky said some shit.
And I still will remind him, Richard.
Levi, hey, that shit.
Yeah, Levi called Ricky a stowaway. So
He did do that too, yeah.
I did remember that. But let's address. There's
fucking
one
children.
elephant in the room that needs to be addressed. And no, it's not my corner.
Stop talking about my cock.
long schlong. No, let's address the whole Bray Wyatt left WWE. He's got a physical issue, and him and Bobby aren't having a match at Mania or something like that. I don't know what the actual thing is. I don't know if
What he does. Nobody does.
No one does. Like, I don't know if it's just wrestling elite journalism nonsense, or the fact that Bray may have had an injury, or it's probably mental issues. I don't know. Frankly, no one really. I'm not saying no one cares. It's just the build to him and Bobby is atrocious, and the people that are getting giving Bray online hate's a little unnecessary. But people are even saying Bobby deserves better, which I am one of that people.
Yeah.
I don't know what's really going on with Bray.
Too late now for really to be rehabbed, it seems, for anything for Bobby to do. And in all honesty, the Bray situation, whatever is going on with Bray, guess what? It's none of our fucking business, people out there on the internet. It's not you're not owed anything, okay? If he's got shit he's going on with right now, let him go through it. Because when you lose a brother like he did, it tends to fuck with your head. People on this podcast can agree with that. Yeah. So you need to just back the fuck off, let him live his life and get better, okay? Relax. Now, Bobby Lashley, what is there to do with him now? There's nothing.
I mean, you're not gonna have him win.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it were up to me,
Bobby? Put him in the
honestly, if they're even doing it.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that.
Because we don't even think it's even coming back. But honestly, if I were Triple H, I would fucking abort the Brock Omos match and just do one final Brock Bobby match.
Too late now.
I know it's too late, but I would just say fuck doing Brock Omos. Just have Brock F5 Omos and get it over with, and just go with Brock Bobby.
I will say though, their confrontation on Raw, the stare down was cool. And then the brawl happened. Ooh,
Brock botched trying to go over the top.
Didn't get the timing right. Didn't go over the top rope. It happened.
Oh God!
But the fans were into the stare down.
No, they were. They were chanting holy shit.
Yeah.
But then they have physical contact.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that crowd died.
But see, here's the thing with this match. This is going to be the spectacle that the only thing that's going to matter is the F5. And fans are going to lose their shit when it happens.
Long. It's going to be 2 minutes long, and it's going to be everyone's going to be talking about it when it's over.
Or Brock does the freaking
the shooting star.
I doubt it.
Or Omos does the shooting. Or Omos does the shooting star.
Oh my God, he'll break the ring if he did that.
Uh-huh.
It's like saying Great Khali's about to do a 450.
Now, see, that would be impressive as hell.
That'd be very impressive, yes.
Imagine Giant Gonzalez
doing a 630.
Oh my God. Dude, they will do that in a 2K23 video game. Watch it do
Big Show.
Giant Gonzalez and Great Khali doing what Logan Paul and Ricochet did at the Royal
Rumble.
Rumble.
Oh my
God.
Big Show doing a 900.
Paul Heyman do a shooting star press.
There you go.
Andre doing a 450.
Oh God.
Okay, we're just going off the rails.
Anyways, moving on.
Speaking of Hall of Famers,
but up next,
Hall of Famers.
Hall of Fame. Yeah, so we've gotten 2 confirmed, 3rd definite. Rey Mysterio headlining the Clash this year, which I did not expect.
Me neither.
And then the Rougeau brothers, Jacques and Raymond, are going in.
That's being rumored.
And
rumored.
according to Ric Flair,
Hogan wants them in.
Good for him.
Yeah. And
to be fair,
of course,
they were a pretty cool tag team.
They were a great team. They were champs. And then of course, according to Ric Flair, he's helping to get Muta in this year.
And apparently Flair's doing the induction.
That's what it seems like.
Which is strange, but
Flair announced Muta is going in.
On the bump. Yes,
yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
So
Flair's gonna induct him.
I mean, yeah,
which is fine.
It's fine, even though it should be Sting, but they'll
should be, but they're not going to do
deal.
Whatever. Hey, it is what it is. So Flair's going to do it cool. There's nobody else that could do it.
The fact that Muta's going in when he never did spend a day in WWE, that's great.
Same with Liger 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Liger
did do one match. Yeah, that's
Vern Gagne never wrestled in WWE.
Yeah,
so.
It's kind of like saying Giant Baba. He never set foot in WWE, and he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Vince always thought the WWE Hall of Fame was the Wrestling Hall of Fame. Didn't matter.
Or
You know, where you did or what.
Masawa going into the Hall of Fame, or Jumbo Tsuruta, or what the hell is
Insert
it?
every Japanese legend.
Every Japanese
There
name.
you go. Yes.
Hashimoto.
Hashimoto.
Chono. Yeah.
Chono.
Yeah.
Tenzan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kojima.
You name it.
So now the big thing that happened over on AEW was the promo with MJF, Darby Allin,
Pillars.
Jungle Boy,
The Pillars.
and Sammy.
They're setting up that match with the four of them.
Yep.
Which is going to be unique. It's going to be unique.
Yeah.
MJF is so damn good.
Dude, you look like shit.
Yeah, that was good.
I would say.
But what I see happening. Oh, good.
I give credit to Darby Allin on that promo. He was fucking shooting on that one. It was sounding pretty good. You know, just the little lines he was throwing out. I was like, I'm not worried about a fucking, a bidding war over me, dude. I want to be here. And like, ooh, it was pretty cool. But I do like the guy who's going to be trying to marry another chick in 7 months, Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
Yep. Probably.
Sammy was cutting a babyface promo and then he had to heel because he's a heel.
Yeah.
Whoops.
But I still think what they should do after this Pillars program is do a Hangman MJF program, since Hangman beat Mox.
Honestly,
why not do that feud?
if Sting is going to retire at some point this year, we got to have Sting MJF.
At some point,
have that be Sting's last match.
Maybe at Double or
Sting,
Nothing.
No, that would probably be All Out, because Double or Nothing's going to be the pillar match.
Oh, well, there you go.
Have All Out be MJF and Sting. Because Sting is not lost yet in AEW.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That would not
That's
work,
true.
though. A dude that has spinal stenosis at his age.
He's still
MJF.
going crazy, even at his
It's
age.
all about the storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think him and MJF could make a really compelling match.
They really could.
Oh God. Just thinking, knowing Tony Khan, he's literally going to have 4 pillars as the fucking ring post. Literally.
Yep, I think you're right.
And of course, they're not going to explain why these 4 are the pillars of AEW. No. Mm-hmm. It's like, you can understand MJF being a pillar. Mm-hmm. But the other 3, like...
You can even argue that Ricky Starks could be a pillar in AEW.
Well, he came in a little bit later.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to do a pillars match, it would be...
It's a...
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you're doing a pillars match, the real pillars of AEW are MJF, Mox, Jericho, Omega, and Hangman. Those are your real pillars. That should be the match. But yeah.
But they're just using that term because it was something used in Japan. And it's so it's like, oh, everybody'll know what it is. Just like this upcoming match with Omega on Wednesday. It's like, it's a dream match with somebody that not a lot of people know who it is.
El hijo del vikingo, and I know the fucking guy.
I know him too. I've seen clips of him.
I've heard of him. Yeah, I've heard of him, but it's one of those things where, okay, you're gonna just bring in this guy and do a match right away to hotshot it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, okay, you can bring in another guy from a hot wrestling promotion, but you won't feature like Miro or anything like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's all about new toys with Tony. He gets you, he plays with you for a little bit, and then you go in the closet.
Yep.
Then he gets another new toy, plays with that, you go in the closet.
Yeah. What else has happened? Oh, Hell in the Cell. It's confirmed.
Yeah, confirmed and good, because it fits inside that match.
Now, where would you put it in WrestleMania?
Night 1.
Night
1 needs some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what would you put it?
Why not open with that match? Why not open with Hell in a Cell?
You open with Hell in a Cell?
you might pique the crowd at that
point.
No,
because if you're gonna do Sami KO Usos, they'll come back for that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you can get away with doing.
The little Easter eggs. Hell couldn't help my demons.
Yeah,
I was like,
he's
oh,
bringing
Saw
back the
that.
demon.
Yep. Like,
Yeah, so I'm like, is he
That
gonna
sounds like
bring
something
back
he
the
could do.
demon?
sounds like, or a new connotation of it.
Yeah,
Because
you'd
if you
have to
bring
do
up
it different.
straight up demon, that's babyface.
That's
Yeah.
babyface.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And what is
yeah.
Edge gonna do? Because remember when he came out with the mask on, the devil mask there, some time ago, he could do
Yeah.
something.
He's probably
Along
going to do
those
the
lines,
Brood
like,
entrance again.
Yeah, the
Could do the Brood
brood.
entrance
That's what I was
again,
thinking.
something along those lines. I mean, Edge has basically taken Taker's spot.
Yeah.
He's getting a Hell in a Cell match. He's the most decorated veteran there until Randy, whenever Randy comes back after Mania,
Yeah.
to feud with Cody. But it's that could definitely be something Edge has gotten into that spot now. So
Yeah. Well, say that's pretty much
That's
it for this week in wrestling, and well, that's pretty much it for the show. Next week will be the final week of WrestleMania season, as we're talking WrestleMania 24. And then starting in April, we got the game night stuff, and the schedule is going to be shuffled around quite a good bit. So there you go.
Now
Anyways,
we got one other week. We got the are we going to be doing anything? Are we just doing a preview for WrestleMania?
Could probably do WrestleMania predictions.
Because next
On
week's the
April
1st, and April 1st is the first night of Mania.
Right.
Or
probably not gonna
which
get
will be
together
an
until-
afternoon
I think-
episode.
Yeah, probably have
Do
to
an
be Sunday.
afternoon.
Have to be Sunday the 2nd because NXT Stand and Deliver is Saturday afternoon.
Or we could do a Friday night show.
We
Could do
could.
that.
We can do that.
Good.
I'd be
Friday
down with
night
that.
game night. We can probably do
Or
Yeah.
Friday night predictions.
I think Friday
or,
night. Yeah, I think March 30th or 31st, Friday night would be a Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame's happening too that night, so
yeah.
we want to be
Yeah.
done before that.
So probably have to do Sunday afternoon then.
And probably Sunday afternoon. We'll just do a recap of everything that's happened. And
Night one.
A recap night one, thoughts about night two. I think we did this last year.
Yeah,
So-
we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that and then the following week is when we start doing gaming and other
Yeah.
material.
On the road to Heroes of Wrestling. This is
How
gonna
much is this
it's,
guy weigh?
Yay.
Oh yeah.
Or the quote,
you know, if I was still wrestling McMahon, I would be in that ring.
quote Randy Rosenbluth, the flying leg kick. Flying leg kick.
It's the leg drop.
Ass plop.
Anyway, so plug time.
Diabetic coma.
So plug time, starting with Ricardo, Richard, Dick,
Dicker the third.
Dicker, Dicky, Dickchard.
Get it all out.
Cardo.
Thick Rick the Slick Dick.
Ooh, fancy.
Party? No, not
Whoa.
party.
Oh,
Anyway.
catch me on my deadass Twitter or HorrorMaster18. Catch me on my Instagram, Metal God. Catch me on my YouTube channel where you can see all my videos, which I need to start working on my controversial album series again. Like I said, I'm gonna do Asuke. That's gonna be the next episode whenever I have the chance to get into it. And you can catch me on Liba's channel in both the Shadow Kvlt and Horseman podcast.
Bosh.
You can subscribe to my YouTube channel at BustleP6, where I would do Raw, SmackDown, and AEW Dynamite reviews. I only did Raw this week because I had some stuff come up in my spare time, I guess you could say it. So I didn't review Dynamite and or SmackDown. And I also do wrestling reviews and predictions, alongside metal reviews and metal retrospectives of bands. I am still working on my Sodom retrospective, which might take me a little more time than I originally thought, and I didn't review anything this week. And I am also doing my WrestleMania Warriors little series I'm doing on my channel. I just recently did, I think like last week, where I did on the Heartbreak Kid. But many people would claim Mr. WrestleMania, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and that was a pretty lengthy one too. And you can also follow me on my dead Twitter, aka capital B, capital A, Antelope 86, where I really don't do anything that much.
James.
You can subscribe to my YouTube channel at We Are Pro Wrestling, where I am continuing my WrestleMania review series. I just did WrestleMania 10 yesterday. Next week is going to be WrestleMania 12, followed by WrestleMania 14. So subscribe to me there. You can follow me on my Twitter at WAPW_wrestling, and you can follow me on my Instagram at WeAreProWrestling_YT.
Scott.
You can find me on my YouTube channel. It's Mr. Scott, doing reactions and all kinds of fun stuff on there. You can find me on Twitch, also at Under Mr. Scott, where I do jams on there. I play music on there, so stop in there. It's always a fun time and hanging out there. You can redeem points to make me do voices, to make me cut promos, to make me play the bass in a weird way. I had somebody redeem where I had to do an eyes closed bass solo for 3 minutes. That was fun. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. And you also find me on TikTok. I do have an active Twitter, not like these kids. The old guy has an active Twitter, by the way. But yes, you find me on my active Twitter, my Instagram, and my TikTok under It's Mr. Scott. So follow me everywhere out there. You won't be disappointed. Thank you very much.
And finally, if you haven't already, subscribe to Thrash Maniac 99 on YouTube, where this morning I posted my review of the new Contrarian album. Basically, if you're a fan of 90s era death, atheist, cynic, gore guts, you're going to dig some technical proggy death metal chaos. Tomorrow morning I got my review of the new Camelot album. And of course, Under the Radar will be back this week, among other things. I still need to get to listen to some Mayhem albums for that ranking at the end of the month. That's going to be fun. But yeah, apart from that, not a whole lot of new shit. Just the same old stuff I've been doing. You can follow me on Instagram at ThrashManiac_YT, and follow and or subscribe to me on Twitch at ThrashManiac99, where I'm currently at 420 followers, man. So
I got all this way for my dreadlocks.
Barnes doesn't need dreadlocks. Wait, yes, I do. Chris Barnes. Anyways, we'll see you next week for Mania 24. But until then, as always, keep your horns high, but most importantly, keep your dreams wet. Jackasses.